Nestle has been in Sri Lanka for over 100 years. We have been committed to enhancing the lives of the local community since the very beginning. Today, we are Sri Lanka's largest private sector buyer of fresh milk. As we look at the smiling faces of thousands of dairy farming families, we know that we have kept the promise we made 30 years ago. Nestle, empowering Sri Lankan dairy farmers.
A very good evening and welcome to Primetime News, live from the Newsfirst Centre here in Colombo. I'm Adushka Balasuriya.
And I'm Sonali Vanigabadage.
Tonight on the news, talks between authorities and railway trade unions fail, strike action to continue.
We'll have a comprehensive report later on in the news bulletin, but we start off first with a look at tonight's headlines.
President directs Finance Ministry to reduce the price of a domestic gas cylinder by 250 rupees. Number of ministers and deputy ministers in the cabinet reaches 110. MPs and ministers not present in parliamentary chambers. Public issues lodged. Head of the Citizens Committee in Vaunia assaulted. Hudhud cyclonic storm moves away from Sri Lanka.
The price of a domestic 12.5 kilogram gas cylinder will be reduced by rupees 250 with effect from tomorrow on a presidential directive. The president announced the directive today during an event held to mark Pensioners' Day.
When I was coming here, people were thanking me for reducing the electricity tariff by 25%. I was pleased to hear that, because people thank us very rarely. I thought the statement would stop with that. They said the reduction was good and also asked if prices of gas could be reduced. Because you made such a request, I have instructed for prices of a gas cylinder to be reduced by 250 rupees. I vest the responsibility of informing this with the Secretary.
What are your views on the reduction of the price of a domestic gas cylinder? You can express your views through our website www.newsfirst.lk.
Meanwhile, another deputy minister took oaths before President Mahinda Rajapaksa today. Thereby, the number of deputy ministers in cabinet has risen to 41.
Nuwara MP V.S. Radhakrishnan was sworn in as the Deputy Minister of Botanical Gardens and Public Recreation before President Mahinda Rajapaksa this morning. Radhakrishnan was elected to Parliament through the Upcountry People's Front. Meanwhile, Salim Marzouk was appointed as Acting Chief Justice by President Mahinda Rajapaksa. Mohammad Mohideen Abdul Ghafoor was sworn in as a Judge of the Court of Appeal this morning.
The discussions between the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance and railway trade unions that commenced this evening have failed. Thereby, the strike action that commenced at midnight yesterday still continues.
Thousands of railway commuters were severely inconvenienced this morning as a result of the strike action. The commuters point out that the strike action, which was launched with no regard of the distress that it will cause to the public, also caused massive losses to the government.
It cost us 130 rupees for a train trip. Now we need at least 300 to 350 rupees to go. We can't do that because we did not bring enough money.
I have to go to Fort Colombo. I booked my seat yesterday. They said if the train trip was cancelled, I would be given a refund. But now there is no one at the counter. Now I will have to spend 2,000 rupees to go to Colombo by bus. We will have to wait for a long time for the train to come here.
I travel with a season ticket, so we do not bring money to go by a bus.
This problem has just been dragging on for a period of time. We are disappointed about the officials who are supposed to provide solutions to these issues.
Operations at a majority of the train stations across the island came to a standstill today. Some passengers who were rendered helpless were seen waiting for hours at the train station. Despite short-distance trains operating today, ticket counters were closed, causing more difficulties to the commuters and the department itself. The loss incurred by the Department of Railways as a result of the strike action today was between 12 to 15 million rupees. Sources from the department also noted that the department incurred a loss of another 5 million rupees through cancellation of bookings and good transportation. Over 250,000 people travel by train on a daily basis. The Sri Lanka Transport Board has dispatched additional buses to minimize the inconvenience caused to the public as a result of the strike action.
The SLTB operated several special bus services today. We also dispatched buses for the evening rush hour as well. The operations are done from the central bus stand. Another bus service is operating on the Southern Expressway. The Sri Lanka Transport Board earns a profit of around 62 million rupees on a daily basis. With this strike action in place, we expect that number to increase to 65 or 66 million rupees.
Secretary to the Treasury P.B. Jayasundara says that the 2015 budget will be a development-oriented budget rather than, quote, a bag full of election goodies. P.B. Jayasundara made this statement at the Capital Market Conference 2014, which was held in Colombo earlier today.
The Capital Market Conference 2014, organized by the Securities and Exchange Commission of Sri Lanka and the Colombo Stock Exchange, was held in Colombo today under the auspices of President Mahinda Rajapaksa. The progress report on the capital market was presented to the President at the occasion.
Investments have been lined up to double the refinery, aviation and bunkering storage capacity, as well as to modernize the pipeline distribution system for 2015-17 to further improve the energy-based economy and energy security, creating a strong national budget and consolidating the macroeconomy that will fuel upper middle income economic expansion. It requires having to raise government revenue efforts beyond 16% of GDP, which in turn demand buoyant tax structure and high dividend from state enterprises.
Also speaking at the event, Governor of the CBSL, Ajit Niwat Cabral, shared these views.
In fact, Sri Lanka has been a standout performer in the South Asian region, in all capital markets in that part of the world. The post-conflict stock market performance has also been one of the strongest when you look at countries which have had various conflicts in the past. Immediately after the conflicts, some countries have had a movement forward, and if you take all, Sri Lanka has had the best performance since the end of the conflict. And I believe today, if you do a 360-degree evaluation of the way the country has progressed in all facets of development after the end of the conflict, I believe we'll be right up there as one of the greatest case studies of a country coming out of conflict and moving into a new plane of peace and development.
On to the weather situation now. Heavy downpours as well as thunder showers were experienced across the island last night and today as well. Does the weather pattern have anything to do with the Hudhud cyclonic storm that is continuing to develop in the Bay of Bengal? Newsfirst has a comprehensive report.
The Department of Meteorology says that the Hudhud cyclonic storm that was developing in the Bay of Bengal is gradually moving away from the country and is heading towards the northern Indian state of Andhra Pradesh. Met officials say that the cyclonic storm will have no direct effect on Sri Lanka. However, the current position of the storm is merely 1,000 kilometers away from Trincomalee. The Department of Meteorology officials say that showers and thundershowers may develop during the night time and tomorrow in the northern and southwestern parts of the country. They add that the sea areas off the coast extending from Puttalam to Kankasanture via Mena from Galle to Putville via Hambantota may be rough at times as winds can strengthen up to 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. Showers or thundershowers will occur at times in the western, Sabragamo, central, northwestern and northern provinces and in the Galle and Matra districts. The Disaster Management Centre said that the landslide warning issued for the Ratnapura, Nuwara, K Galle and Kandy districts will continue to be in effect until tonight.
Heavy rains accompanied by strong winds affected many areas in the Ampara district last evening.
Strong winds accompanied by heavy downpour were experienced in the Kokmahara and Ketsirigam areas in Ampara at around 4 last evening. 21 houses were damaged by the gale winds while another 5 were completely destroyed. Our correspondent in the area said that the electricity supply to many areas were disrupted as a result of uprooted trees and the electricity supply is being restored. It lasted only for a minute or two. We could not imagine what happened.
Moving into other local news now. The chairman of the Citizens Committee of the Vavuniya district, who was assaulted by an unidentified group, is continuing to receive treatment at the Vavuniya hospital. Police say investigations have been launched into the assault.
Chairman of the Vavuniya District Citizens Committee, S. Devarasa, was attacked at around 7:30 last night by 4 motorcyclists while he was returning home after work. Devarasa, who sustained injuries in the assault, was admitted to the Nedunkeni hospital. He was later transferred to the Vavuniya hospital for further treatment.
When I was returning home after closing of the shop, a group of people on 2 motorbikes blocked my way between the army canteen and camp. They beat me up with iron rods and threw me into a nearby canal. They conversed in broken Tamil.
The attack comes at a time when the Vavuniya Citizens Committee has organized a demonstration to be staged tomorrow to demand that political prisoners be released.
At the working committee meeting yesterday, we held discussions to stage a demonstration urging that Jay Kumar be released. It was after this discussion that I was attacked. The demonstration will go ahead as planned at 10 a.m. tomorrow.
After complaint was lodged with the Vavuniya police on the incident, police officers arrived at the hospital and obtained a statement. In his statement to the police, Devarasa said that he was also threatened by the unidentified group. Meanwhile, human rights activist Sunanda Deshapri in a Twitter message said, quote,
"As Sri Lanka is assuring the Human Rights Commission of People's Rights, a leading activist is assaulted in Vavuniya."
Unquote.
On the 7th and 8th of this month, the United Nations Human Rights Committee reviewed Sri Lanka's human rights record for the 5th time. The Human Rights Committee comprises a body of independent experts from 18 countries that monitors implementation of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights by its state parties. At the committee meetings, NGOs such as Amnesty International presented their reports on the human rights situation in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka's human rights record was reviewed under the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, or ICCPR. Now, what is this covenant? News First delves deeper.
The International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights was adopted and opened for signature, ratification and accession by the United Nations General Assembly Resolution 2200A of 16 December 1966 and came into force on the 23rd of March 1976 in accordance with Article 49. The state parties to the present covenant, in accordance with the principles proclaimed in the Charter of the United Nations, recognize the inherent dignity and of the equal and inalienable rights of all members of the human family, is the foundation of freedom, justice and peace in the world. State parties are obliged to consider the obligation of states under the Charter of the United Nations to promote universal respect for and observance of human rights and freedoms. Sri Lanka ratified the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights on the 3rd of October 1997. However, when you take the SAARC region into account, powerhouses India and Pakistan along with Bangladesh and Bhutan are not signatories to the Charter. Over the past 2 days, Sri Lanka's work process under the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights was discussed, and Sri Lanka was given a 48-hour deadline to make any further submission to the report that was presented. On the 30th of October, the United Nations Human Rights Committee would make its observations to the countries that were reviewed.
Moving into more matters closer to home, only one response was given to the 15 questions that were to be discussed in Parliament today. The main reason behind this was the lack of public representatives to both ask the questions and answer them. Due to this issue, 2 acts that were to be presented before Parliament today were not tabled.
පතින මහතා අහනවා සතියක් ගරු රෝෂි සේනානායක මැතිණිය
ගරු නියෝජක කතානායකතුමනි
මේ සතියක් කල්ලිලා මුදල්හා ක්‍රම සම්පාදන අමාත්‍යතුමා මම අහනවා ගරු නියෝජක කතානායක සති දෙකක් කල්ලිලා රාෂ්ට්‍රාංක 8 ගරු අශෝක අබේසිංහ මහතා රාෂ්ට්‍රාංක 9 ගරු නලින් බණ්ඩාර මහතා රාෂ්ට්‍රාංක 10 ගරු ආචාර්ය හර්ෂ ද සිල්වා මහතා ආනා සති දෙකක් කල්ලිලා තිස්ස අත්තනායක මහතා මම අහනවා ප්‍රශ්නේ උසස් අධ්‍යාපන අමාත්‍යතුමා සතියක් රාෂ්ට්‍රාංක 9 ගරු නලින් බණ්ඩාර ජයමහා මහතා අහනවා සභාගත කරනවා තියෙනවද ප්‍රශ්න කොහේ ඇවිල්ලා නැහැ ඒක වෙලා රාෂ්ට්‍රාංක 12 ගරු දෙපැත්තම ගැලපෙන විදියට පැමිණ නැහැ මාසයක් කල්ලිලා නෝ ගරු ආචාර්ය විජයදාස රාජපක්ෂ මහතා පැමිණ නැහැ එතුමා. Alantine Honorable Sylvester Alantine එතුමාත් පැමිණ නැහැ. ඒකත් ගැලපෙනවා.
The amendment bills pertaining to municipal councils, urban councils, Pradesh Sabha, local government elections and the special provisions amendment bill pertaining to the filling of vacancies at local authorities were approved in Parliament today without a vote. An unruly situation took place during the second reading of the bills.
කතා කරනවද ඔබතුමා කතා කරනවද නැත්නම් එච්චරයි කියන්නේ කතා කරනවා මහානගර සභා සංශෝධන පනත
The Municipal Council Amendment Bill, the Urban Council Amendment Bill, the Pradesh Sabha Amendment Bill, the Local Authorities Election Amendment Bill and the Special Provisions Amendment Bill will be presented.
We present the Pradesh Sabha Amendment Bill and the Urban Council Amendment Bill.
සාමේ නගර සභා සංශෝධන පනත අපි ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා.
He should explain to us what is the aim of these bills. He says these bills are being presented and he sits down. What is he doing?
A number of issues cropped up in the field of local government. The government, together with the opposition parties, created this local government amendment bill, and that is what we present.
පළාත් පාලන සංශෝධන පනත අපි ඉදිරිපත් කරලා තිබෙනවා. ඒක අපි
කතා කරන්න කරු එතුමා
ඒ වගේම අපි කරු නියෝජ්‍ය කතානායකතුමනි අපි
This is what's happening in Parliament, and this is what has happened in the government as well. According to the Deputy Minister's explanation, he is completely unaware of this.
Speak with some sort of meaning. You have gotten it wrong. You are speaking about what is happening in the world, but you don't speak about this issue. They always charge that I lie. Listen to this. This is a lie that you said.
එකඟතාවය doesn't mean it's එකඟතාවය. I repeat the word එකඟතාවය. You can't say එකඟතාවයක් උනේ නැහැ.
There was an agreement reached.
Staying with Parliament, JVP leader MP Anura Kumar Dissanayake raised a question in Parliament today on former Sri Lankan High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Chris Nonis. This is what transpired.
I forwarded the statement under Standing Order 23.2. The Honourable Secretary spoke about the statement with me over the phone. However, I have not gotten anything in writing. Honourable Deputy Speaker, my statement reads that there was an assault on Ambassador Chris Nonis.
The decision of the chair has been sent to you. We request that you make the statement through a substantive motion.
Motion එකක් මගින් ඉදිරිපත් කරන ලෙස
මුකුත් කියන්නේ නැතුව කියන්නම්කෝ. මේකේ මා යුපීයේ മന്ത്രിවරයා කියලා සතහන් කීපයක් තිබුණා. ඒක මත මම එකඟ වෙනවා.
There were several instances in the statement about a parliamentarian. On that I will agree. However, I have said who committed the assault. If he is a parliamentarian, then the Minister of External Affairs can say that he is a member of Parliament and cannot disclose the name. I have said that Ambassador Krishnonis was assaulted. If I can't ask who committed the assault even in Parliament, then what is the point?
No, Mama.
We kindly request you to follow the proper procedure to ask this question.
Deputy Leader of the UNP, MP Sajith Premadasa, raised a question in Parliament today on the national plan that is being implemented for uplifting the standards of the fisheries industry.
You said that you would provide a fuel concession to the fishing community. Why has the government moved away from this promise? These fishermen are helpless.
They are not helpless. This program was implemented following discussions with all fishing associations. They asked us to provide equipment which is equivalent to this amount of concessions.
You made a statement that the fishermen would receive benefits of both programs. However, you need to know for months they did not receive what was promised. It was in January 2006 that the fuel concession was promised. I feel like the government is not paying enough attention to you. The money allocated for you annually is dropping.
ඔබතුමාට මේ රජයේ වැඩි සැලකිල්ලක් දක්වන්නේ නැහැ. වාර්ෂිකව ඔබතුමාට වෙන් කරපු සල්ලි අඩු වෙනවා.
By now, Dr. P.B. Jayasundara has recognized and commended the Ministry of Fisheries. Therefore, we have been allocated a larger sum of money than previous years. Like you, I am also having a good period.
I would like to ask, if the Treasury respects you this much, why aren't funds being allocated to create 30,000 homes that were promised?
කෝටි 150න් 7.5ක්වත් තමුන්නාන්සේට මේ වෙනකන් ලබා දීලා නැත්තේ.
That program has been given to the Ministry of Housing.
Views were also expressed in Parliament today on the arrest of former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Jayalalitha Jayaram.
உண்மையில் தமிழ் தேசிய கூட்டமைப்பினர் நிச்சயமாக இதை பற்றி பேசுவார்கள் என்று நான் எதிர்பார்த்தேன் இந்த சபையிலே.
I hope that the TNA would speak on this. However, they didn't. Jayalalitha and the Tamil Nadu government spoke on a number of occasions on their behalf. She spoke about the Tamil community in Sri Lanka. Is her arrest justifiable? Internal Affairs Minister Chidambaram is accused of defrauding 25 billion. Property belonging to Sonia Gandhi's son-in-law is worth over 25 billion. The value of property belonging to Karunanidhi is close to 5 billion. In such a backdrop, is Jayalalitha's arrest justifiable? She has a net worth of 630 million. We believe that the arrest of Jayalalitha is an act of political vengeance. I expected the TNA to speak on this, but they didn't. These people spoke about the issues of the Tamil community and shook the central government. They secured 38 seats, but now they are in a situation where they can't even obtain bail.
ஜெயலலிதா அவர்களின் கைது இன்று ஜாமீன் அவர்கள் எடுக்க முடியாத அளவுக்கு இன்று வந்திருக்கின்றது.
Now, in a quick update on the former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister's case, Jayalalitha Jayaram has requested the Supreme Court to grant her bail so that she can leave the Bangalore prison, where she has been inmate number 7402 since late last month. In her appeal to the Supreme Court, Jayalalitha's lawyers have referred to her ill health. Early on Tuesday, the Karnataka High Court rejected Jayalalitha's bail plea.
Still in Parliament, UNP parliamentarian Rosie Senanayake says that voices against the government are rising up from within the government itself. She made this statement during a public rally held in the Ranal area in Navagamu, Kadwela.
Senior figures within the government, including ministers, are criticizing the government. Recently, a government backbencher brought a private member's bill calling on the government to reduce the size of the cabinet by 30%. It was tabled but later withdrawn. Why? Because there must have been an order issued to withdraw it. Voices of dissent are being expressed by members of the government itself.
Moving on from Parliament now, the inaugural session of the new Uva Provincial Council was held today. The session was held under the auspices of Chief Minister Shashinda Rajapaksa. The chairman and the deputy chairman of the council were also chosen during this session.
The inaugural session of the 6th Uva Provincial Council was held at the Uva Provincial Council in Badula today. UPFA councillor A.M. Buddhadasa's name was proposed by the Chief Minister for the position of chairman. A tense situation arose thereafter.
UNP's Upali Samaraveera's name was also proposed for the position of chairman. A vote was held for the position and Buddhadasa secured 19 votes to Upali Samaraveera's 13. The JVP abstained from voting. UPFA Salia Sumedha and Nalin Bandara of the UNP were proposed for the position of deputy chairman. Salia Sumedha was chosen as the deputy chairman after securing 6 more votes than his opponent.
The United National Party secured continuous victories during the time period when the UNP's National Executive Committee was in operation. However, the activities of the committee were suppressed after 1994 and the party suffered one defeat after another.
The 6th chapter of the UNP Constitution speaks of the National Executive Committee. This is second only to the party convention. Based on the constitutional provisions of the UNP, power is vested with the National Executive Committee to formulate policies and execute programs. Incidentally, the UNP secured victories at the electoral front for 34 years during the time period in which the committee was active. However, once the National Executive Committee became obsolete and non-functional, the party was bestowed with the fate of defeats. This bears testament when looking at the past 2 decades. The current leadership of the party took steps to make this committee non-functional and thereby provided unlimited powers to the working committee. A majority of the members appointed to the working committee are individuals who are close associates of the leader of the UNP, and they act based on the whim of the leadership. The decision made by the party leadership to grant unlimited powers to the working committee and thus suppressing the National Executive Committee had resulted in continuous defeats. The party fell into a deeper crisis with the appointment of the National Leadership Council, which comprised of a majority of outsiders. More details on this tomorrow.
And for your sports news tonight, here's a quick roundup of today's events.
Sri Lanka national badminton champion Niluka Karunaratne has risen to number 98 in the world badminton rankings. Niluka was earlier ranked at the 103rd position in the world. Meanwhile, the second round of the National Badminton Championship was held at the Navalapitiya Jayatilaka Indoor Stadium today. More than 600 athletes are taking part for this tournament. The 27th edition of the Sports First Government Krida project will be held in Rivisanda Central College in Mawathagoda, Mavanella. The main aim of Sports First Government Krida project is to identify and develop talented athletes from villages so they could compete at both national and international levels. The training camp will coach athletes in the disciplines of athletics, cricket, badminton, weightlifting and judo.
From a cricketer who etched his mark as a legend in the sport to an honorary position of group captain, Sachin Tendulkar was given the title at the 82nd founding anniversary of the Indian Air Force.
That's right, and we leave you tonight with the footage of the ceremony that took place in India. Good night.
Take care.
Center